I'm Linda Camp. I'm the owner of Sunday Best Quilt Works in Ellerslie, Georgia. We love precision and we love speed and we like our quilts to look wonderful. And so we have developed 8 stencils to make half-square triangles. This little guy. Because our stencils come in different sizes, it's really easy to upsize a project that you really love. For instance, you can take this wonderful little star that's made with a 1-inch half-square triangle stencil and quickly upsize to this magnificent star that's made with our 4-inch half-square triangle stencil. Lady of the Lake pattern has been around for a very long time. It's very traditional. The body of the quilt is made up of half-square triangles, and we added a half-square triangle border because if you take this part away and you just frame it out with the border, it looks a little flat and plain. This adds an awful lot of oomph. And again here, this is a traditional log cabin block. If you just add a border, it doesn't really pop and focus on the block. So a little 1-inch half-square triangle border made a big difference in this little quilt. The feathered star, again, 1-inch half-square triangles create the feather that gives the star its name. This is an antique pine tree block. We use 2 different color half-square triangles, and it looks fantastic, very quickly and easily done. This is another old block that's been around for a long time, slightly updated with fresh, new, modern colors, and it's a nice little wall hanging. And the chicken, that's just plain fun. This is a block from the 1930s that we've been playing around with. To increase the accuracy of our half-square triangle stencil, we've added pinholes. We use Collins glass head fine pins to anchor our stencil in place, and we use water washable markers to mark all of our cutting lines. The stencil can be marked really quickly. All we're doing, if you'll notice, is pulling the marker down the line in the stencil. There are little bumps in the stencil, but the marker just pretty much glides right over it. If it bounces out like you're seeing me do at some of the intersections, that is not a problem because the stencil is very easy to clean with warm water. So no matter how much you mess it up, you can always clean it up at the end of the day. Or you can leave the color on because it makes it easier to see the channel the next time you start to mark. Okay, so that is our outline of the predominant number of our cutting lines. We are going to mark these stitching lines, which are the little serrated bits here. You can see a ghost of a pink line on the stencil where we have used the Frixion highlighter. The Frixion highlighters were not invented for the quilting industry, but we have certainly embraced them. For our stencil, it's perfect because we need our cutting lines to stay exactly where they are, no matter what, which is why we use the water washable marker for them. But for the sewing lines, we don't want that color to stay in place. It's best if it goes away and doesn't shadow through after the unit is sewn. So we switch from the water washable marker to the Frixion highlighter. We found that the green actually tends to leave a little bit of an orange overcast, so we use pink or blue. We stay away from the green ones. But when you mark your channels, you'll notice that our longer channels here give you a little more line to follow when you're sewing. Okay, I think I've got them all in that direction. And look just how quickly we are able to mark. I'm not timing this, but I believe it's going to be the fastest way you ever made 32 perfect half-square triangles. The beauty of our product is that you do not have to purchase a paper piecing foundation over and over again. You do not have to tighten your stitches, and you do not have to cut them down to size after the fact. Okay, I may be marking over a line because I might be a little bit nervous being on camera, but there, I think we have our entire stencil marked. We are ready to remove our pins. We are marking on the wrong side of our background fabric so that we can more easily see the lines. Okay, that's what it looks like. And now we are ready to layer that right sides together over our contrasting fabric. And because I'm a pinner and I don't like anything to shift when I'm sewing, I'm going to pin the bits in together so that nobody shifts when we get to the sewing machine and we stay as accurate as possible. If you don't need as many half-square triangles as 32 to make the whole stencil, you can use only a portion of the stencil. In this case, we're going to get 2, 4, 6, 8. You can use your scraps, you can make 1, you can make 2, you can make any quantity you want. No matter where you start stitching on the half-square triangle stencil, you're going to be fine. You're going to just pick a point. If you notice, there are visually 2, in this case, pink rectangles that you're going to see crisscrossing the block. I'm going to stitch slightly past my cutting line, pivot, and come down. One of the things that makes this so quick and easy is that we're sewing with a continuous stitch, and we are not breaking our thread until we get to the end of both lines on this rectangle. So I know that watching me sew is a little bit like watching grass grow, and I apologize, but it will be very much worth your time to see what you can do here. Okay, I'm going to roll my needle down. My machine does not have automatic needle down. She's a little bit of an old girl, but that's okay. We've had a wonderful relationship for a very long time. So again, sewing just past the line, lifting my presser foot, pivoting, lining up with the next line, and I'm forming the bottom of the first rectangle. I use an open toe foot so that it's a little bit easier for me to see the line. And the beauty of this is that not only is it quick and easy, it is so stinking accurate. It's wonderful. But I did discover, sewing very, very late at night, that if you sew not quite on the line, or you cut not quite on the line, you can still mess it up. But if we take our time, sew on the line, every single time it's going to come out with a perfect, in this case, 2-inch half-square triangle, because that's the stencil that I chose to demo today. So almost there on the first rectangle. I'm going to try to stop on the cutting line there, pivot. There we go. Drop the needle and pivot. The longer channel that's marked in pink gives you a little bit more line to follow. Okay. We have just stitched 16 perfect half-square triangles. All right, one of the fun things about doing a demo like this is letting you see some of the products that we really enjoy here in the shop. I use the Karen K. Buckley scissors, in this case, only to cut a little bit of thread. We really like these little steam-fast irons. I'm a quilter who likes a little bit of steam, so this little guy has holes just where it puts the steam out where you need it. And it'll hold steam for 3 to 4 hours when you're in class. It's a great thing to take. I also like the Steady Betty pressing surface because it holds your block steady, like it says. They don't move around and they don't stretch. Now, as I'm pressing, what I'm doing, I'm setting all 32 one time, or 32 seam allowances at one time. And you'll notice the Frixon highlighter went away, and we are done. We have just set 32 perfect half-square triangles. Okay, we love the OLFA 17-inch rotating mat. The first thing we're going to do is cut away the perimeter, rotate the mat. We are going to cut away the perimeter from all sides of our block. If you don't have a rotating mat, you can make do with a small mat, any one that you can turn. But the reason this block is, or this series of blocks, is so quick to cut and piece and cut, say it right, Linda, is because we don't pick it up. Once we put it on the mat, we move the ruler. The block stays in place. And I'm cutting all of the straight lines in one direction. Okay, rotate the mat, cut all of the straight lines in the next direction. And you're going to want to move your ruler carefully. We don't want to misalign any of the pieces because then you waste time having to get them back where they belong. But as long as they stay lined up, this is super fast to cut. That's all of our straight lines in one direction. Our sewing lines, the marks went away, and you can see the black thread that I used. Normally I would not sew this with black thread, but for the purposes of the video, I wanted you to be able to actually see the stitching lines. So here we go. cutting on the diagonal in this direction. Turn the mat, hit all of the diagonals in this direction. Take my time. If you miss your perfect 1/4 inch seam allowance in the cutting, it's not going to matter an awful lot if you're off just a tad bit, because you've sewn accurately. Okay, we are through cutting. We have just completed 32 spot-on perfect half-square triangles. Now I have one more little trick I want to show you. I want to show you how we press them out for efficient cutting of the little dog ears. We are going to press from the front instead of the back because we don't want to push any fullness in. The Steady Betty mat is going to kind of hold it, and when we push, the heat and the weight of the iron pressing against the seam allowance flattens it out. I'm going to slightly stagger my blocks, and again I'm going to let the seam allowance flatten, hold the iron, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The heat and the weight of the iron do the job, and even though Steady Betty's holding us flat, try not to do the rainbow movement because we don't want to stretch anything. Okay, we have just pressed our seam allowances, and they are staggered in this order because it is quicker and easier to take your scissors and just quickly nip away the dog ears. Turn your hand and nip away the dog ears, and 3 or 4 is a comfortable thing to handle, and there we are. Now I'm going to take this to the mat and show you that it is a perfect 2.5 inches that will finish it to. Alright, we have dested it in the corner so that you can see that it is 2.5 and 2.5. If we move the half-square triangle stencil, it is a perfect 2.5 by 2.5.